Welcome back. Of course, we're in a special panel discussion regarding the youth vote. Are young people indeed completely despondent when it comes to the political discourse of South Africa? Or, in fact, do they want to be given finally the opportunity to make their voices heard and actually lead? We've got our political parties that are representing us this evening. We also have got a live studio audience that is going to be posing questions to some of these political parties. And joining us via Zoom, we've got some independent candidates as well as the likes of the IFP. Telling you one thing, it's getting quite hot in the studio as the conversation continues. But I'm going to take it back to my audience. Honeymoon, you had a question for the politicians. What's your question?
Oh, yes. Before I pose the question, I would like to just greet the South Africans and our panel. Guys, personally, I have seen this story before. After some time, you come back and campaign, and then you disappear, right? And everybody knows this. And what happens is that you fill our casies and suburbs with promises, with boards, but I'm from Alexandra Township. And personally, I feel that you are just there to maintain the status quo because Alexandra Township has not changed and is the oldest township in the world. Personally, sitting there and I'm like, what are you going to do that you have not done, And I would like to know briefly from all of you, what can you do for the youth of Alex who are growing up in the same conditions that their parents and grandparents grew up in?
Good question, Honeymoon. Very good question. Who wants to take it first?
Look, the ANC can't attempt to do anything there.
No,
they already.
let
me finish, Fasia. They already started, in 2001 with the ARP, and they stole all of the money. Okay. To this day, I think it was a few days ago, someone, the placeholder mayor announcing that they finally completed a bridge over the M1 into Sandton from something that started in 2001.
Sabelo, maybe let's talk about
so
Mashaba's
the point that I'm talking, the point is here. Look, when we talk about any of the areas, be it Alexandra, be it Soweto, the issues are fundamentally the same. The physical area itself might be different, but the issues are fundamental. It's electricity, it's sanitation, it's all of these different things. And in the Mashaba administration, which my good friends from the DA and the ANC both know or did very well, we had the inner city revitalization program, which the ANC, upon taking office, have promptly shut down. That's a program that my brother DK was talking about, property development and the like. And in that program, it brought in 32 billion rand in investment, or at least of the buildings that had been, given out to the private sector to build affordable accommodation, mixed-use developments, would bring in 32 billion rands in investment, 22,000 rand direct construction jobs, and it would be using construction methods that are in some instances innovative, right? And that's where the young business people and older business people, in fact, whomsoever it is who can fund the project, would go ahead and do that kind of stuff, and that would have a trickle effect directly for the employees, for the company owners, downstream into the rest of the economy. So when my sister Fasia speaks about the township economy, as though black people or colored people, whomsoever lives in townships, which are predominantly black and or colored, they're basically saying that we need to confine them to
Fasia answer some of those questions so that you don't speak on her behalf.
Of the economy.
I hear you, Sabelo. Let her speak.
Let's unpack that, right? The Gauteng Township Economy Bill is not at all what Sabelo. I don't even think Sabelo's probably read the piece of legislation. The idea is that we're trying to create economic opportunity in our areas. We don't only want to be creating economic opportunity in a Sandton. We also want to be creating opportunities in Alex, and that's what the question was about. What are we doing for people in Alex? More houses have been built in, I think it's Athletics Village, London Road has been extended, but the reality is there's not enough space in Alex, right? We need to, and we have identified land parcels in which we can and are building more houses. I think it's Frankenworld, we're looking at Linbro Park. There's a number of different locations that we're looking at because we know that this is an ever-growing economy. One of the difficulties in Gauteng is a huge influx of people to the province, and often Alex becomes a victim to that, right? We've built new schools, yes. In fact, over the last financial year, I think we've built 2 schools, particularly in Alex, but the idea is that we want to create more space and more opportunities for Alex residents. So it's a combination of things. Yes, we're building more houses. Yes, we're pushing on the economy, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's fair it's a bit disingenuous for Sabelo to talk about these things. When Mashaba was the mayor, there were billions of rands that went to
I think the truth of the matter is Mashaba has done more for the EFF than he's done for young people, and that's the fact. The ANC lied about providing housing to the people of Alex Honeymoon. He lied to provide 1 million houses to the people of Alex. He never did it. He never did it. So let me tell you what the DA wants to do for young people and what it's shown to have done where we've governed. I bring you to the city of Midvaal. We speak about opportunity centers, connecting young people to Wi-Fi, because we understand that in this new technological space that we find ourselves in, young people must be connected to the internet. They must be able to apply for bursaries, because that is the connection that young people have through networks. We must skill young people. We have a skills gap in this country. We need to provide young people with skills so that they can connect into the employment economy of this country and become more employable. We know this why? Because in the Western Cape, we have the lowest rate of unemployment in the entire country. We know this why? Because we've provided and shown a track record of providing service delivery. Now, this election is about services. This election is about water and electricity. And I want you to ask yourself, who will you trust to actually deliver those things? Someone who's actually never done anything? The ANC who's failed at every... You can't trust the ANC to even run as far as a shop. But the DA has actually shown that we can deliver services. So if you've done well, you won't be here.
But I'm interested to hear from our...
When Luyolo says...
Yeah, let's give him one opportunity to add in as well.
Thank you very much. Let me start here, my chief. I'm from the Val. The same thing that is happening to Alexandra is happening to Everton. Everton renewal project money gone. So I'm going to tell you about where I come from and show you what we mean when we say we are for young people. Number one, let me start with the DA. They want to connect young people with Wi-Fi, but people are still using pit latrines. Do you know that people in Midvaal are still using pit latrines? Do you know that people in Stelo, some of them do not share toilets? Do you know that when you go to Midvaal, you still have the old apartheid system of communal taps? But that's for Midvaal. What we offer as New Horizon Movement, number one, for young people, the very same Midvaal does not have a TVET college, does not have anything. And I know why, because it's the ANC. They were trying to keep young people out of Midvaal. So what we are saying as young people is that Sidibeng College must have a satellite campus at Midvaal, a satellite campus that will deal with primary agriculture because it's mostly agricultural. It will also, it must bring courses that aren't offered in other sites. That's number one. Number two, we want to bring young people into the fold in this way. Simple things. We are not going to tell you about billions. Simple things. For the longest time, Mfuleni was run by we only had two trucks to take refuse. And what we are saying is this: we are going to employ young people, just like we're doing in town, where young people will collect the refuse and put it at a spot where a truck will then come in, for instance, in Zone 11. Instead of the truck taking a day in Zone 11 only, picking refuse, young people will take young people that are already doing it, by the way. They've been doing it since our municipality has not been collecting refuse. They will then collect that refuse, put it somewhere where the truck will collect it. Instead of taking refuse the whole day in the Val, in Zone 11, we can do Zone 11 and Zone 12. That's number one. Number two, we will expand public works program. We have a problem of water leaks in Mfuleni. There's water everywhere. And we have Sidibeng College that has engineering courses. We will take young people there that are doing plumbing and engineering courses, put them in expanded works. We don't want membership for you to come, so long you are a young person. The last thing is we will also have a a skill development center. There are young people that are in school. There are young people that are in universities. But there are also young people that falls within the cracks. They left school at grade 7, grade 8, grade 9. Those people need skill to survive. Just like all these foreign nationals that come here in South Africa. Those foreign nationals that come here in South Africa, they survive on their skin. When you go to the Val and you say, I want my car to panel beat, you know what they say? They say, find a Mozambican. And what we're going to do is we're going to give young people those skills so that they can survive until we get to a point where they can get permanent and decent jobs.
All right, Mpakwachi, I want to go to the IFP right now. So what's your plan?
Thank you very much. let me not sell a dream here, but be realistic and practical in my responses. One, the IFP, while you are still governing KwaZulu-Natal, we managed to build a lot of colleges because we understand very well that we need to have a skilled and educated society. Unfortunately, all those colleges were shut down when they
Oh, let me see, you've got a little bit of a signal problem. Yeah, you just have a little bit of a signal problem. We're going to just try to fix your signal in the meantime. I'm going to move on to you as well. Melzadek, in terms of just young people, what's the promise for young people from independent candidates?
We have a very unique structure as One Movement Cape Town, as activists. We want to bring back the power to the young people, also to teach them to become self-sustainable in life. We cannot receive everything. So can I make this example? In case you have a problem with cleaning trucks, not come and pick up your trucks. So we have young people in the communities needs to help the government to not struggle alone. If we can have unity together as young people and not fight against racist problems, let's stand together as young people and let's show the world and show South Africa, One Movement of Cape Town, are not promising anything for the communities of the young people.
Yeah, I got you. Honeymoon, it was a really long answer, but did you get some kind of leeway in terms of being able to get who exactly is going to do something tangible for the people of Alexandra, for the young people of Alexandra, which was your question in the first place?
Yeah. Oh, to be honest, I think we are at the brink of a revolution because as we speak right now, there's about 7 million youth that is unemployed. And a young person is about to sleep hungry or with go-slows or biscuits as we speak. It's a very terrible situation that we are sitting here. We are talking about the youth, but not to the youth. And I felt that we were talking about the youth, but not to the youth.
So it looks as though, Tsepo, once again, political parties are struggling to connect. Even the young people that are represented by these political parties are struggling to connect. Are we, to Honeymoon's point, at the brink of a young person's revolution?
Well, I will tell you one thing. Every politician, when they want to be relevant, they come to Alexander. So it's more like a playground for the political leaders here. They tell, they promise, they've made promises. And we are not yet closer to reach our destination, to reach our goals. I want to pinpoint, I'll come to Mr. Mlungisi, because he's the MMC for housing as well. You shouldn't have touched the issue of housing because that issue has been standing in 2019, and we had the first citizen of the country coming to Alexander promising. Then we had an interview here by the Minister of Transport justifying what the president of the country said about the houses.
Oh, you're talking about the 1 million?
In Alexander. Yeah. First of all, wait a minute.
Not 1 million.
First of all, we had 1 million. 1 million is a very large number. You can't be telling us about 1 million. Where are you going to build 1 million in Alexander? First of all, there's no space. She's talking about the space that is occupied. The Alexander is very small. Yes, it's very small, but they are building townhouses there. Private business owners are building townhouses around Alexander, just outside of Alexander. That space should belong to Alexander. Well, he disappeared, Mlungisi, the MMC of Housing. I wanted to ask him about the ground there at Alexander 4th Avenue. They occupied that space. You speak about young people. You occupy the space where young people should be keeping themselves busy, getting out of the street, doing drugs, indulging in other things. You know, you have youth there in Alexander that are doing things that they cannot even be responsible for. So if the MMC of Housing, who's the IFP member here, occupy the ground, the 200 meters space that is meant for young people to practice, to expose their talent. But that has caused a very, very serious disturbance to the young people.
We're going to try and get him back up again. I know that we were struggling a little bit with the signal there, but it is back to the point right now in terms of just broken promises and promises after promises and policy after policy. But unfortunately, when it comes to policy, is that South Africa is fantastic with policy, but it's terrible at implementing policy.
The ANC
how
is terrible
do we
at implementing
change that?
policy.
I'm sure it's all policy, but how do we change that? I'm going to go around.
Let me just quickly correct.
Well,
just a moment.
this thing is
President
simple.
said he would build 1 million houses in South Africa, not in Alex. We know there are major spatial challenges in Alex.
No one here
which is also
in
why,
the audience
which is also why we're trying to...
I'm a reporter. I interviewed the man. He was there. He promised. And he also failed to answer. On Monday, this Monday, he failed to come to my show to answer for those questions that I've sent before he could come to the studio. We sent questions to these dignitaries before they come. He failed to come and answer those questions in studio. He said...
So you were there when that promise of 1 million was made?
I was there. He was in the show that I'm doing during the day.
Let's clarify.
He said 1 million houses for Alexander, not South Africa.
1 million houses in the country.
No. You want a recording? If you want a recording, we can get it.
Were you there?
I was there.
So he said 1 million?
Yeah, they're going to tell you about
Alexander.
For Alexander.
But then the question that I wanted to pose to him is that how far we are not going to ask. You said you're going to build one. How far are you with the 1 million houses that you said you're going to build?
1 million
We're not talking about
the country is definitely
but
the
why
goal.
you can
and
get a recording for yourself.
Huge focus. In fact, let's talk about it. We understand that not everybody necessarily wants a built house for them. And one of the big things that we've managed to do both in Gauteng and in the country is expand access to title deeds, but also giving people a plot of land so that they can build their own home. And a big focus of that has also been for young people. So perhaps there was a miscommunication, but the reality of the matter is that 1 million houses in the country, it's not possible to build those houses in Alex. There's no physical space. But the reality is we do need to be focusing on housing, and it is something that we need to focus on.
houses in the country. We're in now 2021. That was in 2018, 2019. How far along are we with that 1 million?
We've built houses, we're speaking about Alex, we've built houses in the Athletics Park, we've extended housing in London Road.
At this point, we should be able to get a number, right?
We
can't get the number.
I can easily get the number and post on social media. But I'm not going to lie about the number and ensure that we actually bring enough people to have housing.
The ANC brings Fasia out because Fasia is an excellent communicator. She can spin. My God, she can spin. But the facts don't change. Okay.
I think we are like-minded in this space.
Let me finish.
We still don't know about the missing billions of Mashaba.
What missing billions?
Let's talk about
Let me tell you this much. Let me finish.
What we as New Horizon Movement, the reason why we stood up as New Horizon Movement is because we are sick and tired of this. Now they are making us fools. He was there. He's recorded there. Now he's making us fools. We did not understand him. This is politics at play. Fasia is the best. She's going to be promoted. She's going to national parliament because she's a true politician.
But at the same time, also, Liolo, and we can speak about the ANC as well. But the truth of the matter is, Liolo, your leader is also no stranger to controversy. Right? At a time where it is politically sensitive in the country, he goes and releases that some people are heroes while others are being called, you're taking advantage of a very sensitive time in South Africa. Was that even wise?
So I think that's the interesting thing about the DA is that when we make a mistake, we are able to own up to South Africans and actually correct that mistake. And I think what we were trying to say with those boards was that the South Africans that protected their homes, that protected their businesses, give me a chance to finish, despite the fact that people's businesses were being looted by vigilantes, those people were heroes. But we understood when that message came to South Africans, they did not get it. They did not feel it. And what we did, we said, you know what, we will take down the posters and we apologize. Did the ANC do that when the president promised 1 million houses? They did not. Even Fasia till today is defending it. We all saw that clip where the president promised those 1 million houses.
But what I look for,
last point. One thing I look for in a political party is the ability to self-correct when they are wrong. And I think the DA has shown that in this election, that when South Africans tell us that we are wrong, we are able to correct.
All right, guys, I need to leave you guys. I'm going to have to go back to the IFP. I'm going to go back to you as well. You were disconnected for a second, but just in terms of being able to self-correct, because that's the theme of the day clearly here amongst politicians, is self-correcting. In the hope to self-correct as well, someone, somewhere, somehow, the president in itself and how the leadership is so far, when are you going to come up and be the leader of the IFP? Does it have to take you being 60 or 65 or 70 years old to finally have a voice in the IFP? Because you sound like somebody with incredible ideas who can champion this forward. It would be tragic to know that you're going to have to wait until you're 65 or 70, for that matter, in order for you to actually make tangible change within your political party. What are you going to do to spearhead that agenda?
Well, thank you very much. Once again, let me start with the issue of Alex, because I'm the MMC for Housing in Johannesburg, to say that it is true that the President of the Republic promised people of Alex 1 million houses, but unfortunately there was no plan to that effect. And there was a ministerial tax team that was set up, of which since I came in December 2019, I have never been invited to any of the meetings that speaks of the development of Alexandra. But what the department is currently doing there, the Department of Housing, we engage with the stakeholders and the residents of Alexandra, particularly those that are within the sport fraternity in the area, requesting to utilize the sport field there for the redevelopment of Madala Hostel, and to decongest the informal settlements that are around that hostel. And the proposal that we put forward to them was that we are going to provide them with an alternative temporary sport field that they will use up until we conclude our development. But part of our development of the hostel, there is a portion of land or a space within the development that has been catered for a new sport facility that we are going to build as the Department of Housing for the people of Alexandra. So I wanted to clear that one first. Coming back to your question, in the IFP, like I said earlier on in my preamble statement, to say that we do have a space within the organization. Our national spokesperson is 34 years old. So as young people, we are not oppressed within the organization. Come 2024, in the next conference of the party, I can even contest for any position in the top 7, and no one will stop me from doing that, because our constitution, in fact, is very clear that any member of the organization can contest for any of the positions in the organization. But of course, it is the fact that in the past few years, as the organization, we have been in the transition where we have said even the president of the president emeritus of the organization can guide us, until we conclude the transition process that we are still on right now. But the fact of the matter is that the young people, can contest positions, and we are going to contest position come 2024.
Well, I look forward to seeing you one day. I have to wrap it up, but I look forward to seeing you one day actually contesting, and hopefully that one day is before you're 65. And this is how we have to leave it, unfortunately. Ultimately, you're the one that gets to decide your fate tomorrow. That is the 1st of November. You as a young person in this country actually have true power. You get to hold the power about who you decide will be the champion of your municipality, the champion of your district. You get to be the one that decides how is it that you want to steer the course of this political party, this political country of ours, right? It's a democracy. And so when you go out to vote tomorrow, let me implore you, vote for who represents you. Vote for who you want to see lead you. And as a young person particularly, you have to understand that your vote is the most important vote, and your vote actually does count. I'd like to thank my panelists for joining us in conversation this evening. I'd like to thank as well my studio audience for joining us this evening. And most importantly, thank you to you for listening in this evening. Do not forget, you're the one that ultimately holds the power. That vote gives you the opportunity to finally decide who you want to lead. Have a fantastic rest of your evening. My name is Faith Mangop. I look forward to engaging with you again on Saturday. Up next, though, we've got News Night with Marcel Gordon. Bye-bye.